Hello. It's so nice to join you again, and thank you for joining me. I wanted to move on with past predictions so that we can move forward with the future predictions. Claire and Bobby and Georgina are your psychics that help you. The person that helps me the most is my guru and God. So I always say for God and Guru, because in the Sanskrit traditions, you don't take credit for your own work. You know it's coming from someplace else. Very quickly, we predicted a big change with air travel, and as it turns out, they are planning uh, Uber type planes without pilots. That is something I will pass on. The next thing, the witness protection type blending in with various cultures with Muslim terrorists. They will come in with a background, paperwork, language. They'll blend right in. They'll go to churches, send their kids to school. You'll never know it. Their aim is to get into high tech and banking. That's where they can do the most harm. They are a little more sophisticated. Gone are the days with Muslims running in screaming, Allah, Allah. This is different. You'll never see it coming. However, the people in the FBI have ways of detecting this in the beginning, so we want to send them good vibes. They do good work. By October of this year, politics will have calmed down. There'll be kind of a settling of the dust, and we'll be able to know what's going on. Um, Previously, because of astrology, I predicted, and it was easy to predict, an eclipse fell on Trump's Ascendant, which is very powerful. So it takes about 3 months, sometimes four, for it to take its final effect. But the person's life is thrown into turmoil. At first, I was a little upset because, well, I didn't want anything bad to happen, but a little upset with the timing of astrology. Uh, and as another astrologer pointed out, that um, October 30th, when the exact day that the eclipse occurred, was when Fire and Fury and the Mueller investigation started. Essentially, his presidency ended at that point. So, we're going to see, mind you, astrology is not like the intuitive arts. It is something that you do with math. And I do have some people in my life that had that eclipse point set off, and their lives were just, at least for a while, were a little disrupted would be a mild word. We also predicted from Trump's chart, because of the moon in the seventh house, popularity would take a dive and his wife would leave him. Those two things happened at that time. Uh, so now we're just, if you think about somebody walked in and set off a bomb, now the dust has not settled. You can't see too much, but it's going to get better. There is on the psychic airwaves a little worried about the White House. It's as if literally it gets blown up or on fire. It looks like Trump and Hillary always have sudden fires. Rather suspicious. Um, Moving on. Um, if there's a Hamilton, Australia, I'd like to know. That's where I saw a vigorous trade in ivory and rhinoceros horns. It was horrible. And the people in Australia do not like it. And they're doing everything they can to get it changed. And when that first came into me, sometimes it's hard to trust because I find it very hard in my mind to connect up elephants and Australia. It's just, and but I'm sorry. Sometimes money talks, but not for long. Uh, these people, and also the belief in karma. Oh my goodness. Um, in Hamilton, Australia, it actually could be Bermuda, and I saw an earthquake in Hamilton and a something like it's some kind of water phenomena happening in Bermuda. And now here's the thing. I couldn't even find a Hamilton, Australia on the map. So my Aussie friends let me know. The one that really was distressing for me was our beautiful Italian friends with the beautiful Pope. We need spiritual guidance, but the Vatican is in danger, and all of southern Italy, well, all of Italy, is going to be overrun with refugees, and they've come from a very violent background, and they're desperate. So there's all kinds of backlash with that type of thing, but that's not the only problem. The Mount Vesuvius and Mount Etna are going to get active. I actually see our dear Pope having to be evacuated, or if he doesn't die, because when I see the vision, I see him outside St. Peter's walking around in his beautiful white robes, but it looks like he's in spirit. So we need you, Pope Francis, and he's darling too. Now let's move on. Here's one. I saw a line being drawn down from London or the central of the United Kingdom straight down to Morocco. I always thought Morocco was somewhere in Spain or something. And I looked it up and I was like, well, it does kind of make a straight line, and it kind of runs into the Hamilton, the Bermuda island. Very nice if you get to go there. So I see a direct line being drawn down, and I don't know what it is. It's going to be a lot of things connecting those two areas of the world. I might be making this video into two parts. We'll see. It depends on my camera. But I'm more excited to go bring in some new predictions. Well, anyhow, there's the line drawn down. The one that surprised me, and I got it ways back, and it's all come true. Why I was picking up on transatlantic commerce, I do not know. I put it out to my psychic friends, and they did not have an answer. I did. I saw happy boats going back and forth across the Atlantic. It looked like fair and good trading across the Atlantic, and it would favor oil. I saw that there were two forces in big powers that kind of pull strings on everything. There is oil, and and guns. These people could probably buy the treasury and everything in it. That's how wealthy they are. But I saw that of the two powers, that oil was going to pervade, and I thought, well, that's kind of difficult. Everybody's into solar right now. Um, well, really, I'm serious. About 4 days later, Trump announced embargo and stiff tariffs on solar panels, which are manufactured overseas. He wrecked the U.S. solar industry and ensuring a robust oil trade. Now, the two powers that compete with each other, they kind of came to agreement that they're happier with the oil. If they have a common peaceful world and they're using oil and gas, that's good for the business. And war does not feed into that. War comes in to be profitable when guns are more lucrative, and that probably happened with the tragic Valentine's Day massacre in Parkland, Florida. We talked a lot about Chinese cyber hacking. That will continue. However, we have some really, really smart people that are counteracting that. But the one thing that, let's say you're Russia, the first thing you want, and China annoys you, North Korea annoys you, you want their land anyway, and the U.S. has always annoyed you. The best thing you can do is get those people fighting with each other. So, I mean, think about it. That's almost what we do in interpersonal relationships. The Chinese is thinking about, well, they're going to build a mass transit system that's going to increase productivity by a zillion. It's going to be like when we put railroads and asphalt roads all over the place in our early beginnings, like let's say the 40s, good bridges, communications, and this is brilliant of the Chinese. However, they tried to plan too far ahead, so they're going to have things that I've seen it happen with military projects. A bridge that's built in nowhere with no connecting roads. I've seen that, and these are going to be. I actually saw in the middle of China. I saw it caving in. I saw lots and lots of roads, airports, you name it, and I saw it all caving in. Now that's possible in some localities. Houston is literally caving in because they pumped out so much oil, and that's one of the reasons that Hurricane Harvey was terrible. I've heard that the Houston shoreline went down 12 inches. That's an awful lot to me. I'm like, wow. So, but the Chinese mass transit system will be successful, but it's going to have some dinosaurs in it. The caving in the middle, it makes me think about a bomb, like nuclear bomb in the middle of the country. I don't know what that is. Could be a nuclear power plant. It was directly in the middle, and all of the new roads and mass transit, which were really futuristic, just fell into a hole. Not all of them. It's a good investment in the long run. I saw this a ways back before that. I rumblings from earthquake and volcanic actions in the Pacific Northwest. It's good because it will help ease the underground earthquake platelets in California. And, and that was like a couple. I woke up one day, I guess it was Tuesday, January 23rd, and on my phone was a warning, tsunami warning, head for the hills, or whatever, get your warning wings out. And fortunately, there was a really bad earthquake, but no tsunamis that I know of. The surfers like that, they don't understand how bad that is. Um, so I really felt that that was going to put off California sliding into the ocean. Wouldn't that be nice? Kind of no fun sometimes thinking about it. Okay, I have seen this over and over and over. I saw a light shining over the Florida West Coast. I saw several confirmations of that. It's going to bring forth new age, a real new age. And I saw it over and over. I remember once in my life, I lived in a place that all of a sudden everything opened up. Was I in heaven? Astrology classes, psychic development, it was great. Then it went away. And everybody went back to, 9 to 5 grind. Not me, though. However, it was hard to understand. I talked to other people. I run into them, and they go, "What the hell happened?" I said, "No, but it was great." And all the people that were very, what can I say, higher up in their vibrational feeling, they moved away, all of them, to different places. So I think they were supposed to carry their knowledge elsewhere. So, and that's very interesting. It's going to happen bigger on the west coast of Florida, also, and this might have something to do with Houston sinking and the Mississippi kind of letting in more water. I don't know how, but there's a split there, and the Florida coastline increases. Like more nice sand, and I have several. I don't know. That's what I always get. A nice long white beaches. This goes all the way up through the Florida Panhandle, and the place I focus in on most will be more the lower part. St. Augustine and Clearwater and further down. This might have something to do with the terrible Valentine's massacre. It happened in that area, and I think this is going to be the time that a change is going to come. You've got to almost feel a tidal wave building with everybody there. They've had it. And it really, seriously, we had Bush steal the election, then we went to war, it went on and on. And now the young people, well, the poor parents, I just can't even talk about that. I start to choke up. But it's going to mean a big change. And I did a chart on the Florida shooting, and I said, this will be the time. This is the time. The school, the people, these kids and the people around them and the young adults, they're going to make a difference, and they're going to change things. And they're pissed off. So it's just so, anyhow, I kept seeing that there. And, oh yeah, stock market. I don't want to leave that out. Silver is going to zoom up. And trust me, I don't even know where to look for that. It's a good investment. For some reason, gold doesn't. I see it just kind of staying flat. And the stock market continues to go down and begins to pick up around September of next year. And I've said all along that 2018 is going to be like 2008, where there was a bad surprise with the real estate and banking. So, once again, we have another little present from um, George Bush Jr., or W. Bush. He also took out all the solar panels that Clinton put in the White House and got rid of them every time he could. He's much happier with, as the oil coming from an oil family, he's much happier lighting up the furnace. So throw some more coal on the fire. Now, here's one. This is going to become, you know how for a while anthrax was kind of an issue? This is going to happen. I never knew what happened with they catch the anthrax, make people that were trying to poison postal workers or God knows who. But we have in our society, and I'm seeing, they look oriental. I'm really feeling not so much Japan, but it's part of China, but I don't think it's quite China. Anyhow, they are decent, independent people, and they're like Dr. No's, N-O, or eccentric scientists will be inventing viruses and poisons. They have this plan, this idea they're doing everybody a favor to reduce population, and yes, they will. And they have a lot of inventive ways to do it. You're going to get more West Nile virus, more destructive flus, but they're going to aim for bigger things. They're very creative and they have a lot of money. And I keep seeing them flying over with a drone. I don't want to give anybody ideas, so anyhow, they're going to be up to some mischief. This is the way to control the out-of-control population. Well, that's what they think. Perhaps we can come up with something a little more rational. Also, we saw that many populations will begin to become sterile. So if Dr. No or Dr. Death will just hold his pants on and wait, because sadly there's going to be some areas of the world where the men are going to become sterile. This is from walking through scanners, airport scanners. It's killing the sperm, and they have more estrogen from all the meat. And the one thing that's interesting, if you look at two populations, India and China, they kind of are not into meat, especially like cows. And their populations are doing just fine, plenty of growth there. And they're outdoing everybody, both the Chinese and the Hindis and other people in that area where meat is not common. So, I said this before, if you want to have grandchildren, don't tell your kids not to eat meat. So, vigilantes across the Mexican border, and they kind of mesh with some skinhead types and causing unrest. They're the kind of people that, it's always bad, whatever they're doing. And this is like KKK, skinheads, Nazis, and they have a lot of fun. They think they're doing good, but they are going to be along the Mexican border, especially in Texas. There's something big going on in Texas. I'm getting all kinds of things. Like I see a wild bronco ride. So it's going to be nuts. And I think that it has to do with, some of this is the vigilantes just having fun, and to them, because they love guns and violence, and they like to shoot at the Mexicans coming across the border. and they'll even do things to entice them. The thing is, they're not going to be aiming to kill. They don't want to get in trouble. So it's just their way of keeping. Who knows? Who wants to think about it? Some of them are very. Their headquarters is in Dallas. Um, let's see.